incremental changes, instead of making large, disruptive changes. The Kaizen approach. ChatGPT. The Kaizen approach, often associated with Japanese management philosophy, is a continuous improvement methodology focused on making incremental, small changes to processes, products, or services to achieve better results over time. Kaizen itself means change for better or continuous improvement in Japanese. Here are key principles and aspects of the Kaizen approach. Continuous improvement. Kaizen emphasizes that improvement is an ongoing, never-ending process. It encourages individuals and teams to seek out opportunities for improvement in every aspect of their work. Incremental changes, instead of making large, disruptive changes. Kaizen promotes making small, incremental changes that are easier to implement and less likely to disrupt operations. These changes are often called Kaizen events or Kaizen blitzes. Employee involvement. Kaizen places a strong emphasis on involving employees at all levels of an organization in the improvement process. It values the collective knowledge and experience of the workforce. Standardization. Kaizen seeks to standardize processes and practices to ensure consistency and stability. Once improvements are identified and tested, they can become the new standard for future work. Gemba Genshi Genbutsu. This principle encourages managers and workers to go to the actual place where work is done, the Gemba, to observe processes, gather information, and identify opportunities for improvement firsthand. Elimination of waste. Kaizen aims to eliminate various forms of waste, as defined in lean principles. This includes reducing defects, overproduction, waiting times, unnecessary inventory, excessive motion, and underutilized employee skills. Data-driven decision-making. Kaizen relies on data and measurement to identify problems and track improvements. Data analysis helps teams make informed decisions about changes to processes or practices. Respect for people. Central to the Kaizen philosophy is the respect for all individuals in the organization. It encourages open communication, collaboration, and the sharing of ideas and insights. PDCA cycle. Kaizen often uses the Plan, Do, Check, Act (PDCA) cycle as a structured approach for problem-solving and improvement. Teams plan to change, implement it, check the results, and then act to standardize or refine the improvement. Sustainability. Kaizen aims for sustainable improvements rather than short-term fixes. Once a change is made, it should be monitored and adjusted as necessary to ensure long-term benefits. Kaizen is not limited to manufacturing but can be applied to various industries and processes, including project management. It fosters a culture of continuous improvement, where every member of the organization is encouraged to contribute ideas and participate in making their work more efficient and effective. By continually seeking small improvements, organizations can achieve significant advancements in quality, productivity, and competitiveness over time. User. Why is quality built into an agile project? ChatGPT. Quality is built into agile projects for several essential reasons. Customer-centric focus. Agile methodologies, such as Scrum and Kanban, prioritize delivering value to the customer. Quality products or services are essential for customer satisfaction. By building quality into the project, agile teams ensure that customer needs and expectations are met or exceeded. Frequent inspection and adaptation. Agile projects operate in short iterations or cycles, allowing for frequent inspection of the work being done. Quality checks are integrated into each iteration, making it easier to detect and address defects or issues early in the process, reducing the likelihood of poor quality at the project's conclusion. Iterative development. Agile practices involve delivering small incremental increments of work. Each increment must meet quality standards before being accepted. This approach ensures that quality is maintained throughout the project, rather than being a concern addressed only at the end. Customer feedback. Agile projects emphasize continuous customer feedback. By delivering small, usable increments, teams can gather feedback from customers and stakeholders early in the project, making it possible to make adjustments and improvements to meet quality expectations. Collaborative teams. Agile teams are cross-functional and self-organizing, promoting collaboration among team members with diverse skills. This collaborative environment encourages collective ownership of quality and shared responsibility for delivering a high-quality product. Transparent progress. Agile methodologies use visual management tools like Kanban boards or Scrum boards that provide transparency into progress of work. Team members, stakeholders, and customers can easily see the status of tasks and the quality of work being done. Built-in quality assurance. Agile practices include built-in quality assurance processes such as continuous testing, automated testing, and code reviews. These practices ensure that code and deliverables are of high quality and free from defects. Risk mitigation. By addressing quality early and continuously, Agile teams reduce the risk of major quality-related issues arising late in the project. This proactive approach prevents costly rework and delays. Adaptability to change. Agile methodologies embrace change and adaptability. If quality issues or changes in requirements are identified, Agile teams can respond quickly and adjust their work to maintain quality standards. Empowerment and accountability. Agile teams are empowered to make decisions about how to achieve project goals. This empowerment includes accountability for the quality of their work. Team members take pride in delivering high-quality results. In Agile, quality is not viewed as a separate phase or activity. It is an integral part of the development process. By emphasizing quality from the project's inception and throughout its lifecycle, Agile methodologies help organizations deliver valuable products and services that meet or exceed customer expectations, ultimately leading to greater customer satisfaction and success. User. Name 6 elemental categories lifecycle project. ChatGPT. In project management, lifecycle models describe the phases or stages that a project goes through from initiation to completion. While there are various lifecycle models, 6 elemental categories that can be used to describe project lifecycles are predictive, waterfall lifecycle. The predictive or waterfall lifecycle follows a sequential linear approach where each phase is completed before the next one begins. It is characterized by well-defined phases such as initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. This approach is suitable for projects with stable requirements and little uncertainty. Iterative lifecycle. In an iterative lifecycle, the project is divided into cycles or iterations, each of which goes through the phases of planning, execution, and evaluation. After each iteration, there is an opportunity to make adjustments and improvements based on feedback. Iterative approaches are common in software development. Incremental lifecycle. Similar to the iterative lifecycle, the incremental lifecycle divides the project into phases, but each phase produces a partially complete product or component. The project grows incrementally with each phase. This approach is often used in product development and construction projects. Adaptive agile lifecycle. The adaptive or agile lifecycle is characterized by flexibility and adaptability. It embraces change and focuses on delivering incremental value through short iterations. Agile methodologies like Scrum and Kanban fall under this category. Agile is prevalent in software development, but is also used in other industries. Hybrid lifecycle. Hybrid lifecycles combine elements of multiple lifecycle models to meet the unique needs of a project. For example, a project might use a predictive approach for certain phases while adopting an agile approach for others. Hybrid approaches are chosen to optimize project delivery based on specific project characteristics. Spiral lifecycle. The spiral lifecycle is a risk-driven approach that combines iterative and incremental elements with an emphasis on risk assessment and mitigation. It involves multiple cycles or spirals, with each spiral addressing a particular aspect or set of risks. It is commonly used in complex projects with evolving requirements. These are fundamental categories, and actual project lifecycles may vary based on factors like project complexity, industry, and organizational preferences. Project managers select the most appropriate lifecycle model based on project requirements, objectives, and constraints to ensure successful project delivery. User. What is direct and managed project work? ChatGPT. Direct and managed project work is one of the processes in project management that falls under the executing process group as defined by the Project Management Institute (PMI) in the Project Management Body of Knowledge (PMBOK). This process involves the day-to-day management and execution of the project activities and tasks to accomplish the project objectives. Here are key aspects of the direct and managed project work process. Work execution. This process focuses on carrying out the work defined in the project management plan. It includes coordinating resources, assigning tasks to team members, and ensuring that the work progresses as planned. Quality assurance. While executing the project work, it's essential to ensure that quality standards and requirements are met. Quality assurance activities, such as inspections and reviews, may be carried out during this process. Scope management. Project managers must monitor and control the project scope during execution to prevent scope creep, unauthorized changes, and ensure that the project stays within its defined boundaries. Schedule management. The project schedule is closely monitored during execution to ensure that tasks are completed on time and to identify any potential delays or deviations from the schedule. Cost management. Project costs are monitored and controlled to ensure that the project stays within the approved budget. This includes tracking expenses, managing resources efficiently, and addressing cost variances. Resource management. During execution, project managers allocate, manage, and optimize the use of resources, including human resources, materials, equipment, and facilities. Risk management. Risks that were identified and assessed during the project planning phase are actively managed during execution. Contingency plans and risk responses are put into action as needed. Communication management. Effective communication is critical during project execution. Project managers and team members must ensure that stakeholders are informed, engaged, and updated on project progress. Issue management. As issues and problems arise during project execution, they are addressed promptly to prevent them from escalating and impacting the project's success. Change management. Any changes to the project scope, schedule, or other aspects are evaluated, approved, and managed following established change control procedures. Documenting work. All project work and related information, including documentation, progress reports, and performance data, are documented and recorded for future reference and reporting. Monitoring and controlling. While direct and managed project work is primarily focused on executing project tasks, it also involves monitoring and controlling activities to ensure that the project remains on track and aligned with the project management plan. Overall, direct and managed project work is a crucial process that ensures the project's planned activities are executed efficiently and effectively, leading to the successful achievement of project objectives. It requires close coordination, communication, and monitoring to keep the project on course and to address any issues or changes that may arise during execution. User. Describe generational diversity. ChatGPT. Generational diversity refers to the presence of individuals from different generational cohorts within a workplace, community, or society. Generational cohorts are groups of people who were born and came of age during roughly the same time period, and they often share common cultural, social, and historical experiences. In the context of the modern workforce, generational diversity typically refers to the presence of individuals from the following generations. Traditionalists, born approximately 1928-1945, also known as the silent generation. Traditionalists are the oldest generation still active in the workforce. They grew up during the Great Depression and World War II, and tend to value discipline, hard work, loyalty, and respect for authority. Baby boomers, born approximately 1946-1964. Baby boomers are known for their significant population surge following World War II. They grew up during a period of economic growth and social change. Baby boomers often prioritize job stability, dedication, and face-to-face communication. Generation X, born approximately 1965-1980. Generation X experienced the rise of technology and globalization. They are known for their independence, adaptability, and skepticism. They value work-life balance and may be more comfortable with digital technologies than their predecessors. Millennials, born approximately 1981-1996, also known as Generation Y. Millennials came of age in the digital era. They tend to value diversity, collaboration, work flexibility, and personal growth. They are often associated with tech savviness and a preference for purpose-driven work. Generation Z, born approximately 1997-2012. Generation Z is the youngest generation in the workforce. They grew up with smartphones and the internet as integral parts of their lives. They are known for their tech fluency, entrepreneurial spirit, and desire for quick, meaningful feedback. Generational diversity brings several benefits and challenges to workplaces and communities. Benefits. Diverse perspectives. Different generations bring unique perspectives, skills, and experiences to the table, enhancing problem-solving and creativity. Knowledge transfer. Older generations can pass down valuable institutional knowledge to younger generations, ensuring continuity in organizations. Innovation. Collaboration between generations can lead to innovative solutions and the adoption of new technologies. Enhanced learning. Younger generations may learn from the wisdom and experience of older colleagues, while older generations can benefit from fresh insights from younger coworkers. Challenges. Communication styles. Different generations may have distinct communication preferences and styles, which can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations. Work values. Generations may have varying expectations regarding work-life balance, career advancement, and job loyalty, which can lead to conflicting priorities. Technology divide. Some generations may struggle to adapt to new technologies, while younger generations may take technology for granted. Management styles. Managers may need to adjust their leadership approaches to accommodate the diverse needs and expectations of different generations. Effectively managing generational diversity involves recognizing and leveraging the strengths of each generation, while fostering an inclusive and collaborative environment that values diversity. It also requires open communication, empathy, and a commitment to bridging generational gaps to achieve common goals. User. Describe diversity and inclusion. ChatGPT. Diversity and inclusion (DMPI) are two interconnected concepts that focus on creating environments, whether in the workplace, community, or society at large, that value and respect individuals from various backgrounds and identities. While they are related, they address different aspects of promoting equality and equity. Diversity. Definition. Diversity encompasses the range of visible and invisible differences among people, including but not limited to race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation, religion, disability, national origin, socioeconomic status, and cultural background. Importance. Diversity recognizes and celebrates the richness of human experiences and perspectives. It acknowledges that people bring unique strengths and talents shaped by their diverse backgrounds. Inclusion. Definition. Inclusion is the practice of creating an environment where all individuals feel welcomed, respected, valued, and empowered to fully participate and contribute. It goes beyond mere representation and ensures that everyone's voice is heard and considered. Importance. Inclusion ensures that diverse individuals are not just present but are actively engaged and included in decision-making processes, discussions, and activities. It promotes a sense of belonging and fosters a culture of respect and empathy. Key principles and components of diversity and inclusion. Equal opportunities. DMPI initiatives aim to provide equal opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their background, to access education, employment, advancement, and other opportunities. Representation. Diversity efforts seek to increase the presence and visibility of underrepresented groups in various settings, including leadership positions, boards, and decision-making bodies. Anti-discrimination. DMPI efforts actively oppose discrimination and prejudice based on characteristics such as race, gender, religion, or disability, and strive to eliminate bias in all aspects of life. Equity is about ensuring that everyone has access to the same resources and opportunities necessary for success, considering that different individuals may need different levels of support to achieve equality. Cultural competence. Cultural competence involves recognizing and respecting cultural differences, promoting intercultural understanding, and adapting approaches to accommodate diverse perspectives and needs. Accessibility. Ensuring that environments, services, and technologies are accessible to individuals with disabilities is a fundamental aspect of inclusion. Education and training. Promoting awareness, empathy, and understanding through education and training programs is crucial for building inclusive communities and workplaces. Accountability and measurement. Organizations often establish metrics and goals to track progress in achieving diversity and inclusion objectives, holding themselves accountable for results. Leadership commitment. Effective DMPI initiatives are often driven by leadership commitment and visible support from the top of an organization. Continuous improvement. DMPI is an ongoing process that requires continuous self-assessment, learning, and adaptation to evolving demographics and societal norms. Promoting diversity and inclusion is not only a matter of social justice but also has tangible benefits. Inclusive environments are associated with increased innovation, employee satisfaction, creativity, and better decision-making. They lead to stronger, more resilient communities and organizations that can adapt to change and thrive in an increasingly diverse world. User. Name the 5 stages of group formation. ChatGPT. The 5 stages of group formation, often referred to as the Tuckman stages of group development, were proposed by psychologist Bruce Tuckman in 1965. These stages describe the typical phases that groups go through as they form, develop, and work together toward common goals. The 5 stages are: forming. In the forming stage, group members come together and get to know each other. They may be polite and cautious in their interactions, trying to understand the purpose of the group and their roles within it. Members may also be somewhat dependent on the leader for guidance and direction. Storming. During the storming stage, conflicts and disagreements often emerge as group members begin to express their opinions, ideas, and preferences. These conflicts can be related to roles, goals, and approaches. The storming stage is a critical period for resolving differences and establishing norms for working together. Norming. In the norming stage, group members start to develop a sense of cohesion and camaraderie. They begin to establish common goals, values, and expectations, and roles become more defined. Conflict tends to decrease as members find ways to collaborate effectively. Performing. The performing stage is characterized by a high level of cooperation, productivity, and focus on achieving the group's objectives. Members work together seamlessly, leveraging their individual strengths to achieve success. This stage represents the peak of group maturity and effectiveness. Adjourning or mourning. In the adjourning stage, sometimes referred to as mourning, the group disbands either because the project or task is completed or because members move on to other endeavors. This stage involves reflecting on the group's accomplishments and experiences, expressing gratitude, and saying goodbye. It can be accompanied by feelings of loss and nostalgia. It's important to note that not all groups go through these stages in a linear fashion, or at the same pace. Some groups may experience regression to earlier stages if new members join or significant changes occur. Additionally, the time spent in each stage can vary widely depending on the group's purpose, dynamics, and the individuals involved. Effective leadership and communication skills are essential for guiding groups through these stages and fostering a positive group dynamic. User. What are the 5 types of power? ChatGPT. In the realm of leadership and social influence, there are several types of power that individuals or groups can possess. These types of power can impact how people make decisions, influence others, and achieve goals. The 5 commonly recognized types of power are legitimate power. This type of power is based on an individual's formal position or authority within an organization or hierarchy. It is granted by the organization and is often associated with titles, roles, and positions of responsibility. People in legitimate power have the authority to make decisions and give orders, and their power is generally recognized and accepted by others due to their official status. Referent power. Referent power is derived from an individual's personal qualities, characteristics, or charisma. People with referent power are often seen as role models or admired by others, and they can influence or persuade others because of their likable or respected traits. This power is often associated with strong interpersonal relationships and trust. Expert power. Expert power is based on an individual's knowledge, skills, expertise, or experience in a particular field or subject matter. Those who possess expert power are seen as credible and knowledgeable, and their opinions and recommendations are highly valued. Others trust their judgment and defer to their expertise. Coercive power. Coercive power involves the use of threats, punishments, or negative consequences to influence or control others. It relies on the ability to punish or impose sanctions if individuals do not comply with the wielder's directives. While it can be effective in the short term, it may lead to resistance and resentment over time. Reward power. Reward power is the ability to offer rewards, incentives, or positive outcomes to influence others. Individuals or leaders with reward power can motivate and persuade others by offering incentives such as promotions, bonuses, praise, or other forms of recognition and benefits. It's important to note that these types of power can be interrelated and may coexist in various leadership or social situations. Effective leaders often use a combination of these power types, depending on the context and the individuals they are interacting with. Additionally, the ethical use of power is crucial in maintaining positive relationships and achieving long-term success in leadership and influence. User. What is a servant leader? ChatGPT. A servant leader is a leadership style and philosophy that emphasizes serving and prioritizing the needs of others, whether they are team members, employees, or the community, ahead of personal interests or the pursuit of power. The concept of servant leadership was popularized by Robert K. Greenleaf in his essay, The Servant is Leader, published in 1970. Key characteristics and principles of servant leadership include putting others first. Servant leaders are primarily focused on the well-being, growth, and success of their team members or followers. They actively seek to meet the needs of others and are willing to make personal sacrifices to do so. Empathy. Servant leaders are empathetic and compassionate. They strive to understand the feelings, perspectives, and challenges of those they lead, which helps build trust and rapport. Active listening. Servant leaders are attentive listeners who value the input and ideas of their team members. They encourage open and honest communication and seek to create an environment where everyone's voice is heard. Empowerment. Servant leaders empower their team members by providing them with the autonomy and authority to make decisions and take ownership of their work. They trust their team's abilities and provide support as needed. Servant leader as a steward. Servant leaders view their leadership role as that of a steward or caretaker of the organization or team's resources and mission. They work to ensure that resources are used wisely and that the organization's goals are aligned with its values. Healing and development. Servant leaders aim to promote the personal and professional development of their team members. They create an environment where individuals can heal from past challenges and grow as individuals. Building community. Servant leaders foster a sense of community within their teams or organizations. They emphasize collaboration, inclusivity, and a sense of belonging. Servant leader as a role model. Servant leaders lead by example and set a positive and ethical tone for their teams. They demonstrate the values and behaviors they expect from others. Humility. Servant leaders exhibit humility and do not seek personal recognition or glory. They acknowledge their own limitations and are open to learning from others. Long-term focus. Servant leadership is often associated with a long-term perspective. Servant leaders are interested in sustainable growth, continuous improvement, and the well-being of individuals and the organization over time. Servant leadership is a people-centric approach to leadership that can be highly effective in fostering trust, collaboration, and employee engagement. It is often associated with organizations that prioritize the development and well-being of their employees and aim to create a positive and supportive work culture. User. What are the 3 steps of a servant leader? ChatGPT. Servant leadership is a leadership philosophy, an approach that emphasizes serving the needs of others and placing the well-being of others above one's own interests. While there's no strict set of steps in servant leadership, the philosophy can generally be distilled into 3 key principles or steps: listening and empathy. Step 1. Active listening. Servant leaders begin by actively listening to the concerns, ideas, and perspectives of their team members or followers. They make a genuine effort to understand the needs and aspirations of those they lead. Step 2. Empathy. Empathy is a critical component of servant leadership. Leaders seek to understand the emotions and experiences of others, putting themselves in their shoes. This empathy helps leaders connect with their team members on a deeper level. Support and development. Step 3. Providing support. Servant leaders prioritize providing support and assistance to their team members. They offer resources, guidance, and encouragement to help individuals succeed in their roles. Step 4. Personal and professional development. Servant leaders are committed to the personal and professional growth of their team members. They create opportunities for learning, skill development, and career advancement. Empowerment and serving. Step 5. Empowerment. Servant leaders empower their team members by granting them autonomy, trust, and the authority to make decisions. They create an environment where individuals feel empowered to take ownership of their work. Step 6. Serving others' needs. The core principle of servant leadership is serving the needs of others. Leaders actively seek ways to meet the needs of their team members, whether those needs are related to work tasks, personal growth, or well-being. These steps or principles are not necessarily sequential and can overlap. Servant leaders continuously cycle through these actions, creating a culture of care, support, and trust within their teams or organizations. The ultimate goal is to create an environment where individuals thrive, collaborate effectively, and achieve both personal and organizational success. It's important to note that servant leadership is not about being passive or subservient, but rather about leading with a focus on others' well-being, growth, and success. Servant leaders can be highly effective in building strong, motivated, and engaged teams, leading to positive outcomes for both individuals and the organization as a whole. User. What is the Shuha model? ChatGPT. The Shuha model is a concept that originated in the martial art of Aikido, but has been adapted and applied in various fields, including agile software development and lean thinking. It describes the stages of learning and mastery that individuals go through when acquiring a new skill or knowledge. Each stage represents a level of proficiency and understanding. The 3 stages of the Shu model are as follows. Shu, protect or obey. Description. In the Shu stage, learners are beginners or novices. They are focused on following established rules, procedures, or best practices. This stage emphasizes a strict adherence to fundamentals and relies on guidance and direction from more experienced individuals or instructors. Mindset. In this stage, learners are like empty cups, ready to absorb and imitate the teachings of others without questioning or innovating. How? Detach or digress. Description. The Heisei stage represents a transitional phase where learners begin to deviate from strict adherence to established rules. They start to question and understand the underlying principles, allowing for some flexibility and adaptation in their approach. Learners may experiment with variations and explore different techniques. Mindset. Individuals in the Heisei stage move beyond simply following instructions and develop a deeper understanding of the why behind practices. They may begin to innovate and adapt based on their insights. Leave or transcend. Description. The rise stage signifies mastery and autonomy. Learners have internalized the knowledge and principles to such an extent that they no longer rely on external guidance. They can adapt, innovate, and create their own approaches based on a deep understanding of the subject matter. This stage represents a level of expertise where individuals can transcend traditional practices. Mindset. In the rise stage, individuals are like independent artists or experts who have internalized the principles and can apply them creatively and effectively. They may even challenge or redefine existing norms. The Shu model is not limited to martial arts or agile methodologies. It can be applied to various domains where learning and mastery are involved. It serves as a useful framework for understanding the progression from novice to expert and underscores the importance of respecting and embracing each stage in the learning journey. Additionally, it emphasizes the transition from adherence to rules to a deeper comprehension of underlying principles, fostering a culture of continuous improvement and adaptation. User. What is emotional intelligence in one paragraph? ChatGPT. Emotional intelligence, EIA, is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and effectively use one's own emotions and the emotions of others. It encompasses a range of skills, including emotional awareness, empathy, interpersonal effectiveness, self-regulation, and emotional resilience. Individuals with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to navigate social interactions, build strong relationships, make sound decisions, and cope with stress and challenges. EI is a critical aspect of personal and professional success, as it contributes to effective communication, conflict resolution, leadership, and overall well-being. User. What is the implement risk response process? ChatGPT. The implement risk response process is a part of the risk management phase in project management, particularly within the context of the Project Management Institute's PMI, Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK. This process focuses on executing the risk response strategies that were developed during the earlier planned risk responses process. The key steps involved in implementing risk responses include execute planned responses. This is the core activity of the process. It involves carrying out the risk response strategies that were identified and planned during the planned risk responses process. This can include actions like implementing risk mitigation measures, contingency plans, or accepting and monitoring residual risks, monitoring and controlling risks. Throughout the project, it's essential to continuously monitor the effectiveness of the risk response strategies. This involves tracking key risk indicators, assessing the impact of changes in project conditions, and ensuring that the chosen responses are still appropriate and effective. Implementing contingency plans. In cases where contingency plans were developed as part of the risk response strategy, this step involves executing those plans when specific triggering events or conditions occur. Contingency plans are designed to be activated to address specific risks that materialize. Documenting changes. Any changes to the project as a result of implementing risk responses should be documented. This includes updating the project management plan, schedule, budget, and any other relevant project documents to reflect the changes made to address risks. Communicating changes. Effective communication is critical during this process. Stakeholders, team members, and relevant parties should be informed of any changes or actions taken in response to identified risks. Clear and timely communication helps maintain transparency and alignment with project objectives. Reviewing and learning. As risks are addressed and risk response strategies are executed, it's important to conduct periodic reviews and lessons learned sessions. These reviews provide an opportunity to assess the effectiveness of responses, capture best practices, and identify areas for improvement in future projects. Updating risk register. The risk register, which is a document used to identify, assess, and track project risks, should be updated to reflect the current status of risks and the actions taken to address them. This ensures that the risk register remains a valuable tool for risk management throughout the project lifecycle. The implement risk responses process is a crucial step in proactive risk management. It helps project teams minimize the impact of potential threats and maximize the opportunities identified during risk assessment. By executing planned responses and continually monitoring and adapting to changing circumstances, project managers can increase the likelihood of project success and reduce the likelihood of negative outcomes. User, what is the conduct procurement process ChatGPT? The conduct procurement process is one of the processes in the project procurement management knowledge area of project management, as defined by the Project Management Institute (PMI) in the PMBOK Project Management Body of Knowledge. This process focuses on obtaining bids or proposals from prospective sellers, selecting the right seller or vendors, and establishing legally binding agreements for the procurement of goods, services, or resources required for the project. Here are the key steps and activities involved in the conduct procurement process. Prepare procurement documents. Prior to initiating the procurement process, the project team, in collaboration with the procurement or purchasing department, prepares procurement documents. These documents outline the project's procurement needs, specifications, terms and conditions, and evaluation criteria. Solicit sellers. This step involves issuing procurement requests, such as request for proposal (RFP), request for quotation (RFQ), or invitation to bid (ITB) to potential sellers or vendors. The procurement documents are sent to qualified suppliers or contractors to solicit their bids or proposals. Receive seller responses. Sellers submit their bids or proposals in response to the procurement documents. These responses typically include detailed information about pricing, delivery schedules, project plans, qualifications, and any other relevant details. Evaluate seller responses. The project team reviews and evaluates the bids or proposals received from sellers. This evaluation is based on predefined criteria, which may include price, technical qualifications, experience, compliance with project requirements, and other factors. Select sellers. After evaluating the seller responses, the project team selects one or more sellers to fulfill the project's procurement needs. The selection is based on the criteria established in the procurement documents and the evaluation process. Negotiate agreements. Once a seller or vendors are selected, negotiations may be conducted to finalize the terms and conditions of the procurement agreement. This may include negotiating prices, delivery schedules, payment terms, and other contractual terms. Award contracts. After negotiations are complete and both parties are in agreement, contracts are awarded to the selected sellers or vendors. These contracts formalize the agreement and establish the legal obligations of both the buyer project organization and the seller. Communicate results. The project team communicates the results of the procurement process to all relevant stakeholders. This includes informing This includes informing unsuccessful bidders and providing information on selected vendors. Administer procurements. Throughout the project team monitors and manages the performance of the sellers to ensure they are delivering in accordance with the contractual agreements. This includes tracking deliverables, quality, and compliance. Close procurements. Once the procurement is complete and all deliverables have been received and accepted, the close procurement process is initiated. This involves formalizing the closure of the procurement contracts, including final payments, release of retention, and archiving procurement documentation. The conduct procurement process is critical for securing external resources, products, or services necessary for the project's success. It requires careful planning, communication, and adherence to legal and contractual requirements to ensure that the procurement activities align with the project's objectives and constraints. User, what are the contracting lifecycle stages ChatGPT? The contracting lifecycle consists of several stages that encompass the entire process of acquiring goods, services, or resources from external suppliers or vendors. These stages ensure that the procurement process is well managed, legally compliant, and aligned with the project's needs. The contracting lifecycle stages typically include identification of need. This initial stage involves identifying the specific goods, services, or resources that are required to meet the project's needs. It includes defining the project's procurement objectives, scope, and specifications. Planning and strategy. During this stage, the project team develops a procurement strategy and plan. This includes determining the appropriate procurement method, for example, competitive bidding, sole sourcing, setting budget constraints, establishing evaluation criteria, and creating procurement documents. Supplier selection. In this stage, the project team solicits bids or proposals from potential suppliers based on the procurement documents. The responses are evaluated, and one or more suppliers are selected based on predefined criteria. Negotiation. Negotiation is a critical part of the contracting lifecycle. It involves discussions and agreements between the buyer and the selected suppliers regarding pricing, terms and conditions, delivery, schedules, and other contract formation. Once negotiations are complete, the parties formalize their agreements into legally binding contracts. These contracts detail the rights, responsibilities, and obligations of both the buyer and the supplier. Contract execution. During the contract execution stage, both parties perform their respective duties as outlined in the contract. This includes delivering goods or services, making payments, monitoring performance, and addressing any issues or changes that may arise. Performance monitoring and management. Throughout the contract's duration, the buyer monitors the supplier's performance to ensure compliance with the contract terms and conditions. Any deviations, delays, or quality issues are addressed and managed as necessary. Change management. If changes to the contract are required due to unforeseen circumstances or scope adjustments, change management processes are implemented to document, approve, and execute these changes. Contract closeout. At the end of the contract term or upon completion of the contracted work, the contract is formally closed. This involves verifying that all deliverables have been received and accepted, resolving outstanding issues, and making final payments. Post-contract evaluation and review. After the contract has been completed and closed, a post-contract evaluation is conducted to assess the overall performance of the contract and to capture lessons learned for future procurements. These contracting lifecycle stages provide a structured framework for managing the entire procurement process, from identifying a need to contract closeout. Effective management of these stages helps ensure that procurement activities are conducted efficiently, transparently, and in compliance with relevant laws and regulations. User, what is an MSA ChatGPT? An MSA, or Master Service Agreement, is a legal contract between two parties that outlines the terms and conditions governing a long-term business relationship. MSAs are commonly used in various industries, including consulting, marketing, and professional services. Here are key points about Master Service Agreements. Long-term relationship. An MSA establishes a long-term business relationship between a client or customer, referred to as the buyer or client, and a service provider or vendor, referred to as the seller or vendor. Scope of services. The MSA defines the scope of services or products that the vendor will provide to the client over the course of the relationship. It may include detailed descriptions of services, deliverables, milestones, and timelines. Terms and conditions. The agreement specifies the terms and conditions that both parties must adhere to. This includes payment terms, pricing, invoicing procedures, confidentiality obligations, intellectual property rights, warranties, dispute resolution processes, and termination clauses. Governance MSAs often establish a governance framework for the relationship. This may include the appointment of a designated representative from each party responsible for managing the contract and addressing issues or disputes. Flexibility. While the MSA sets the overarching terms and conditions, it often allows for the creation of individual project-specific statements of work, or task orders. These documents, which are executed under the MSA, provide more specific details about individual projects, including scope, schedule, and pricing. Duration. MSAs typically have a defined term, such as 1 to 3 years, with the option for renewal. The contract may specify how either party can terminate the agreement with or without cause. Risk mitigation. MSAs often include clauses to mitigate risks, such as indemnification clauses, insurance requirements, and provisions for handling disputes. Legal framework. MSAs are legally binding contracts, and they should be reviewed and approved by legal counsel from both parties to ensure compliance with relevant laws and regulations. Efficiency. Using an MSA can streamline the process of entering into individual project contracts, because the overarching terms and conditions are already agreed upon in the MSA. Scalability. MSAs are beneficial for companies with recurring business relationships or multiple projects with the same client. They provide a structured framework that can be scaled to accommodate various projects over time. MSAs are versatile and can be customized to suit the specific needs and preferences of the parties involved. They provide a foundation for establishing a productive and mutually beneficial business relationship while providing clarity and protection for both parties. User. What is the managed quality process? ChatGPT. The managed quality process is a key process within the project quality management knowledge area of project management, as defined by the Project Management Institute (PMI) in the PMBOK Project Management Body of Knowledge. This process is primarily concerned with ensuring that the project's deliverables and processes meet the defined quality standards and requirements. The main objective is to manage and control quality throughout the project's lifecycle. Here are the key activities involved in the managed quality process. Plan quality. Before executing a project, the project team develops the quality management plan, which outlines the quality standards, metrics, and processes that will be used to achieve project quality objectives. This plan serves as a guide for quality management activities. Perform quality assurance. Quality assurance activities focus on the systematic review and evaluation of project processes to ensure they align with the established quality standards. This includes conducting audits, process reviews, and process improvements to prevent defects and errors. Perform quality control. Quality control activities are focused on the monitoring and inspection of project deliverables and work processes to identify and address any deviations from the quality standards. This includes the use of tools and techniques such as checklists, inspections, and testing. Manage and control quality. This is the core of the managed quality process. It involves implementing the quality management plan, executing quality assurance and quality control activities, and managing any issues or deviations that arise during the project. It includes taking corrective and preventive actions as needed to ensure that quality standards are met. Perform inspections and testing. Inspections and testing are conducted to verify that project deliverables meet the specified requirements. This may include product testing, system testing, or other forms of verification to confirm that the deliverables are fit for their intended purpose. Validate scope. Validation of scope involves ensuring that the project's deliverables meet the customer's requirements and are accepted by the customer or end users. This process typically occurs toward the end of the project when the final deliverables are ready for acceptance. Document and report results. Throughout the managed quality process, the results of quality assurance, quality control, and testing activities are documented. This includes reporting defects, issues, and corrective actions taken to address them. Quality reports may be generated to provide stakeholders with insights into the project's quality status. Manage changes. Any quality-related changes or corrective actions that arise during quality management activities are managed through the project's change control processes. Changes to the project scope, schedule, or budget may be necessary to address quality issues. Continuous improvement. The managed quality process encourages a culture of continuous improvement by identifying opportunities to enhance project processes and deliverables. Lessons learned from quality management activities are documented and used to improve future projects. The managed quality process is crucial for ensuring that the project's deliverables meet the required quality standards and that quality-related risks are effectively managed. It helps prevent defects and rework, enhances customer satisfaction, and contributes to the overall success of the project. Effective quality management requires collaboration among project team members, stakeholders, and quality professionals to achieve project quality objectives. User. What is managing quality in Agile? ChatGPT. Managing quality in Agile projects follows a different approach compared to traditional project management methodologies. In Agile, quality is embedded into the project from the start, and it is considered everyone's responsibility, not just a separate quality assurance team. Here are key aspects of managing quality in Agile. Customer collaboration. Agile prioritizes customer collaboration and feedback. Quality is determined by customers' acceptance of the product. Agile teams work closely with customers and stakeholders to understand their needs and expectations, ensuring that the product meets or exceeds those requirements. Iterative development. Agile projects are typically broken down into short development cycles called iterations or sprints. At the end of each iteration, a potentially shippable increment of the product is produced. This allows for frequent inspection and validation of quality. Continuous testing. Agile teams engage in continuous testing throughout the development process. Automated testing is often used to ensure that new features or changes do not introduce defects. Test-driven development (TDD) and behavior-driven development (BDD) are common practices in Agile to ensure quality from the outset. Definition of done. Agile teams establish a clear definition of done for each user story or feature. The DoD defines the criteria that must be met before a task or user story can be considered complete. This ensures that quality standards are consistently met. Peer reviews. Agile encourages peer reviews and collaboration within the team. Code reviews, pair programming, and other collaborative practices help identify and address issues early in the development process. Product owner involvement. The product owner is responsible for defining and prioritizing user stories based on business value and customer needs. They play a crucial role in ensuring that quality requirements are well defined and that the team is working on the highest priority features. Continuous improvement. Agile teams regularly reflect on their processes and seek ways to improve quality and efficiency. Retrospectives are meetings where the team discusses what went well, what didn't, and how to make improvements. Test automation. Test automation is a common practice in Agile to speed up testing and ensure repeatability. Automated tests are run frequently to catch regressions and ensure that existing functionality continues to work as expected. Agile metrics. Agile teams use metrics to monitor and improve quality. Metrics such as velocity, burn down charts, and cycle time provide insights into the team's performance and help identify areas where improvements can be made. Sustainable pace. Agile promotes a sustainable pace of work to prevent burnout and maintain high-quality output. Teams are encouraged to work at a consistent and manageable pace rather than trying to meet unrealistic deadlines. Documentation. Agile values working software over comprehensive documentation, but that doesn't mean documentation is neglected. Documentation is produced as needed to support the product and its quality. Risk management. Agile teams actively identify and manage risks throughout the project. They prioritize work to address high-risk items early and continuously assess risks as the project evolves. Overall, Agile approaches, such as Scrum and Kanban, emphasize delivering value quickly while maintaining a high level of quality. Quality is not a separate phase, but an integral part of every aspect of Agile project management, from requirements and design to development and testing. This approach helps teams respond to changing requirements and deliver products that meet customer expectations. User. What is automated code quality analysis? ChatGPT. Automated code quality analysis, often referred to as static code analysis or automated code review, is the process of using specialized tools and software to automatically inspect and analyze source code to identify potential issues, adherence to coding standards, and opportunities for improvement. This analysis is typically performed without executing the code and is focused on detecting issues before they lead to runtime errors or poor software quality. Here are key aspects of automated code quality analysis. Code style and formatting. Automated code quality analysis tools can enforce coding style and formatting standards. They check for consistency in naming conventions, indentation, spacing, and other coding style rules to ensure that the code base is uniform and readable. Coding standards compliance. These tools can check whether the code adheres to coding standards and best practices for the programming language being used. They identify violations of these standards, which can help maintain code quality and consistency across the development team. Code complexity. Automated analysis tools can assess the complexity of code by measuring metrics like cyclomatic complexity, which quantifies the number of possible execution paths through the code. High complexity may indicate the need for refactoring to simplify code. Code duplication. Tools can identify duplicated or redundant code segments, which can lead to maintenance challenges and inconsistencies. Eliminating code duplication can improve maintainability and reduce the risk of introducing bugs when changes are made. Security vulnerabilities. Some code analysis tools are designed to identify security vulnerabilities, such as potential buffer overflows, SQL injection points, or other coding practices that could lead to security breaches. Detecting these issues early is crucial for secure software development. Performance optimization. Automated code quality analysis tools can highlight code sections that may impact performance negatively, such as inefficient algorithms or resource-intensive operations. Identifying and optimizing such code can lead to better software performance. Code smells. Code quality analysis tools may detect code smells, which are indicators of suboptimal coding practices or potential problems. These include issues like long methods, excessive dependencies, and poorly structured code. Documentation and comments. Some tools can assess the presence and quality of comments and documentation within the codebase, ensuring that code is well documented and understandable by other developers. Integration with development workflow. Automated code quality analysis can be integrated into the development workflow, including continuous integration (CI/IA) and continuous deployment (CD) pipelines. This ensures that code quality checks are performed automatically with each code commit. Custom rules and policies. Many code analysis tools allow teams to define custom rules and policies specific to their project's requirements, enabling tailored checks for specific coding practices or domain-specific concerns. Feedback and reporting. Code quality analysis tools generate reports and feedback that developers can use to understand issues and make improvements. These reports often include recommendations for remediation. By incorporating automated code quality analysis into the software development process, development teams can proactively identify and address issues, enhance code maintainability, reduce the likelihood of defects, and ultimately deliver higher quality software more efficiently. User. How do you manage artifacts? ChatGPT. Managing artifacts in the context of project management typically involves the systematic control, organization, and tracking of project-related documents, deliverables, and other items of significance. Here are steps and best practices for managing artifacts effectively. Identification and classification. Identify the types of artifacts that will be generated or used in your project. These can include project plans, reports, design documents, code, test cases, and more. Classify artifacts based on their nature, purpose, and importance. For example, some artifacts may be critical for regulatory compliance, while others may be supporting documentation. Document naming conventions. Establish clear and consistent naming conventions for artifacts. This makes it easy to locate and identify documents. Include information like project name, date, version, and a brief description in file names. Centralized storage. Use a centralized and accessible repository or document management system to store and organize artifacts. This can be a shared network drive, cloud-based storage, or a specialized document management tool. Version control. Implement version control for artifacts, especially for documents that undergo revisions. Version control systems like Git or Subversion help track changes, provide historical records, and prevent accidental overwrites. Access control. Ensure that access to artifacts is controlled and permissions are set appropriately. Not everyone on the team may need access to all artifacts, so restrict access based on roles and responsibilities. Metadata and tagging. Use metadata and tagging to categorize and search for artifacts easily. Metadata can include keywords, dates, authors, and other relevant information. Document templates. Create standardized document templates for common artifact types. Templates can help ensure consistency and save time when creating new artifacts. Change management. Implement a change management process for artifacts that need updates or revisions. Clearly define how changes are proposed, reviewed, approved, and documented. Retention and archiving. Define retention policies for artifacts. Determine how long each type of document should be retained, and ensure compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. Archive or dispose of artifacts that are no longer needed according to the established policies. Backup and disaster recovery. Regularly back up your artifact repository to prevent data loss. Implement disaster recovery plans to ensure that artifacts can be restored in case of unexpected events. Artifact tracking and traceability. Maintain traceability between artifacts and project requirements, tasks, and issues. Traceability matrices can help ensure that all project elements are aligned. Collaboration and communication. Foster collaboration among team members by using tools and practices that allow for real-time collaboration on artifacts. This can include online document editing, comments, and discussions. Audit trails and logging. Keep audit trails or logs of changes made to critical artifacts. This can be crucial for compliance, quality assurance, and issue resolution. Regular review and cleanup. Periodically review and clean up the artifact repository. Remove outdated or irrelevant documents, update metadata, and ensure that the repository remains organized. Training and documentation. Ensure that team members understand the artifact management process. Provide training on how to use the chosen document management system effectively. Artifact management is essential for maintaining project transparency, compliance, and efficiency. Effective artifact management practices contribute to project success by ensuring that the right information is available to the right people at the right time. User. What are senders and receivers model and interactive communication model? ChatGPT. The senders and receivers model and the interactive communication model are two concepts used to describe different approaches to communication. These models help illustrate the dynamics of communication between individuals or groups. Here's an overview of each. Senders and receivers model. Sender. In this model, communication is often seen as a one-way process, where the sender is the initiator of the message. The sender is responsible for encoding thoughts, ideas, or information into a message or communication format. The sender's goal is to transmit the message to the receiver effectively. Receiver. The receiver is the recipient of the message in the senders and receivers model. The receiver's role is to decode the message, which involves interpreting and understanding the content. Feedback from the receiver to the sender may or may not be included in this model. One-way communication. This model often represents traditional forms of communication, such as lectures, speeches, or mass media broadcasts. It implies that the sender's primary focus is on delivering information, and the receiver's role is primarily passive, involving the reception and understanding of the message. Interactive communication model. Sender and receiver interaction. In the interactive communication model, communication is viewed as a dynamic two-way process. Both the sender and the receiver play active roles in the exchange of information. Communication is not just about transmitting information, but also about engaging in a dialogue or conversation. Feedback loop. An essential aspect of this model is the presence of a feedback loop. The receiver provides feedback to the sender, indicating comprehension, asking questions, or providing responses and opinions. Feedback allows for clarification, adjustment, and confirmation of the message. Engagement and collaboration. Interactive communication encourages engagement, collaboration, and a more participatory approach to communication. It is commonly seen in face-to-face conversations, meetings, group discussions, and interactive digital platforms. Mutual understanding. The interactive communication model aims at achieving mutual understanding between the sender and the receiver. The sender not only shares information, but also seeks to ensure that the message is understood as intended. The receiver actively participates in the process by seeking clarification or asking questions when needed. In summary, the senders and receivers model represents a more traditional one-way approach to communication, where the sender focuses on transmitting information to the receiver. In contrast, the interactive communication model emphasizes a two-way exchange of information, active participation from both parties, and the importance of feedback and mutual understanding. The interactive communication model is often favored in settings where effective dialogue, engagement, and collaboration are essential for successful communication. User. What are the 5 styles of conflict resolution? ChatGPT. Conflict resolution is the process of addressing and settling disputes or conflicts between individuals or groups. There are several styles or approaches to conflict resolution, each with its own characteristics and strategies. The 5 common styles of conflict resolution are collaboration, win-win-win. Collaboration involves a cooperative approach where all parties work together to find a mutually acceptable solution. It emphasizes open communication, active listening, and a willingness to understand the perspectives of others. The goal is to reach a solution that satisfies the interests and needs of all parties, often resulting in a win-win outcome. Compromise, win some, lose some. Compromise involves each party making concessions and finding a middle ground to resolve the conflict. Both parties give up some of their demands or preferences to reach an agreement. It can be an effective approach when a quick resolution is needed, but it may not fully satisfy all parties' interests. Avoidance, lose-lose. Avoidance is characterized by avoiding or ignoring the conflict altogether. It may be employed when the issue is relatively unimportant, when emotions are running high, or when a temporary cooling off period is needed. However, avoidance does not lead to a resolution and may allow the conflict to persist or escalate over time. Accommodation, win-lose. Accommodation involves one party yielding to the other's demands or preferences to resolve the conflict. It may be chosen to maintain harmony, preserve relationships, or when one party values the relationship more than the issue in question. While it can be a useful approach in certain situations, it may lead to one party feeling disadvantaged. Competitive, assertive, win-lose. The competitive style is characterized by one party pursuing their interests and objectives aggressively and without concern for the other party's interests. It is often seen as a confrontational approach, where one party aims to win the conflict at the expense of the other. This style can be effective in situations where quick decisions are necessary, or when one party has a strong position of power, but it can also damage relationships. It's important to note that the choice of conflict resolution style should be context-specific, and based on the nature of the conflict, the goals of the parties involved, and the desired outcomes. Effective conflict resolution often involves a combination of these styles, depending on the circumstances, in order to achieve the best possible outcome for all parties involved. User. How do you manage project knowledge? ChatGPT. Managing project knowledge involves systematically capturing, organizing, sharing, and leveraging the collective knowledge and experiences gained throughout the project's lifecycle. Effective knowledge management contributes to improved decision-making, project efficiency, and the ability to learn and adapt for future projects. Here are steps and best practices for managing project knowledge. Establish a knowledge management strategy. Begin by developing a knowledge management strategy that outlines the objectives, goals, and methods for managing knowledge within the project. Identify the key stakeholders responsible for knowledge management. Identify knowledge sources. Determine the sources of project knowledge, which may include project documentation, reports, team members' experiences, lessons learned, best practices, and external resources. Create a knowledge repository. Set up a centralized and accessible knowledge repository where project-related information and documentation can be stored. This can be a document management system, a shared drive, a project management software platform, or a dedicated knowledge management tool. Capture and document knowledge. Encourage team members to actively document their experiences, insights, and lessons learned throughout the project. This can be done through regular updates to project documentation, post-project reviews, and structured lessons learned sessions. Use standard templates. Implement standardized templates for documenting project knowledge, including project plans, status reports, risk assessments, and lessons learned reports. Consistency in documentation helps with organization and retrieval. Organize knowledge. Categorize and organize knowledge in the repository using a logical structure. Utilize metadata, tags, and naming conventions to make it easy to search and find specific information. Promote knowledge sharing. Create a culture of knowledge sharing within the project team. Encourage team members to share their knowledge, experiences, and best practices with one another. Facilitate collaboration. Use collaboration tools and platforms to enable team members to work together, share ideas, and collaborate on documents and knowledge sharing. Review and update regularly. Continuously review and update project knowledge as the project progresses. Ensure that documentation remains accurate and relevant. Document lessons learned. At key project milestones and at the project's completion, conduct formal lessons learned sessions. Document what went well, what didn't, and what could be improved. Use this information to inform future projects. Document best practices. Identify and document best practices and successful approaches used during the project. Share these with the team and incorporate them into future project plans. Use knowledge for decision making. Utilize project knowledge to inform decision making processes throughout the project. Data, insights, and lessons learned can help project managers make informed choices. Train team members. Provide training to team members on knowledge management processes and tools to ensure that they are aware of and comfortable with the knowledge management practices in place. Feedback loops. Establish feedback loops to gather input from team members on the effectiveness of knowledge management processes and make improvements as needed. Archiving and retention. Determine policies for archiving and retaining project knowledge after the project's completion. Some knowledge may be valuable for future projects or audits. Promote a learning culture. Foster a culture of continuous learning where team members are encouraged to apply lessons learned from previous projects to improve future projects. Effective project knowledge management is an ongoing process that requires commitment from all team members and stakeholders. By systematically capturing, organizing, and sharing knowledge, organizations can enhance their project delivery capabilities and increase their ability to adapt and innovate. User. Describe the purpose of the managed stakeholder process. ChatGPT. The managed stakeholder engagement process is a crucial component of project management that focuses on effectively engaging, communicating with, and managing the expectations of project stakeholders throughout the project's lifecycle. The primary purpose of the managed stakeholder engagement process is to ensure that stakeholders are appropriately informed, satisfied, and supportive of the project, thereby increasing the likelihood of project success. Here are the key objectives and purposes of this process. Identify and prioritize stakeholders. The process begins by identifying and listing all potential stakeholders who have an interest in or may be affected by the project. Stakeholders can include project sponsors, team members, customers, users, regulators, suppliers, and more. Stakeholders are then prioritized based on their influence, interest, and impact on the project. Understanding the varying levels of influence and interest helps in tailoring communication and engagement strategies. Assess stakeholder needs and expectations. Project managers and teams work to understand the needs, expectations, and concerns of each stakeholder group. This involves conducting stakeholder analysis to determine their interests, requirements, and potential areas of conflict. Develop a stakeholder engagement plan. Based on the analysis, a stakeholder engagement plan is created. This plan outlines how project communication and engagement activities will be tailored to address the unique needs and expectations of each stakeholder group. It specifies the communication channels, frequency, format, and content of communication, as well as the responsible parties. Communicate and interact with stakeholders. The project team actively communicates with stakeholders according to the stakeholder engagement plan. Communication is two-way and seeks to foster collaboration, address concerns, and provide relevant project information. Timely and transparent communication helps in building trust and maintaining positive stakeholder relationships. Manage stakeholder expectations. As the project progresses, it's essential to continuously manage and align stakeholder expectations with project realities. This may involve adjusting the engagement approach, addressing issues promptly, and providing realistic updates on project status. Resolve conflicts and issues. The process includes identifying and addressing conflicts and issues that arise among stakeholders. Effective conflict resolution can prevent disruptions to the project and maintain positive relationships. Monitor and report stakeholder engagement. Regularly monitor the effectiveness of stakeholder engagement efforts. Assess whether stakeholders' needs and expectations are being met, and adjust strategies as necessary. Stakeholder feedback and concerns are documented and reported to the project team and relevant stakeholders. Adapt and improve. The managed stakeholder engagement process is iterative and adaptable. Project managers and teams continually evaluate and refine their engagement strategies based on changing project dynamics and stakeholder feedback. Increase stakeholder support. Ultimately, the goal of this process is to secure and maintain stakeholder support for the project. Engaged and supportive stakeholders are more likely to advocate for the project, provide resources, and help overcome obstacles. Enhance project success. Effective stakeholder management contributes to project success by minimizing resistance, obtaining necessary approvals, and ensuring that the project aligns with stakeholder interests and objectives. In summary, the managed stakeholder engagement process is essential for building and maintaining positive relationships with project stakeholders. It is driven by the need to understand, meet, and manage stakeholders' expectations, ultimately contributing to the successful delivery of the project and the achievement of its objectives. User. What is the purpose of an agile scaling framework? ChatGPT. The purpose of an agile scaling framework is to enable large organizations to effectively and efficiently apply agile principles and practices to coordinate, manage, and deliver complex projects or products that involve multiple agile teams. These frameworks are designed to address the challenges of scaling agile beyond individual teams and ensure that agile practices can be scaled up to meet the needs of larger and more complex initiatives. Here are the key purposes and objectives of an agile scaling framework. Coordinate multiple agile teams. Large projects or product development efforts often involve multiple agile teams working on different components or aspects. An agile scaling framework provides a structure for coordinating the work of these teams. Maintain alignment with organizational goals. Scaling agile doesn't mean sacrificing alignment with organizational objectives. These frameworks help ensure that the work of individual agile teams aligns with the broader organizational strategy. Enhance communication and collaboration. As the number of agile teams increases, so does the complexity of communication and collaboration. Scaling frameworks facilitate communication and collaboration among teams and between teams and stakeholders. Manage dependencies. Large projects often have interdependencies between different components or teams. Scaling frameworks offer mechanisms for identifying, tracking, and managing these dependencies to avoid bottlenecks and delays. Facilitate efficient resource allocation. Scaling agile may require resource allocation and capacity planning across multiple teams. Frameworks provide tools and practices for optimizing resource allocation. Enable continuous improvement at scale. Scaling agile isn't just about getting larger, it's also about improving the way work is done. Frameworks include mechanisms for collecting data, measuring performance, and driving continuous improvement across the organization. Support agile roles and practices at scale. Scaling frameworks help organizations maintain agile roles and practices as they grow. This includes ensuring that scrum masters, product owners, and other agile roles are effective in their larger contexts. Provide visibility and transparency. Transparency is a core agile principle, and scaling frameworks emphasize the importance of visibility into work progress, impediments, and performance at all levels of the organization. Balance autonomy and alignment. Scaling agile requires striking a balance between giving teams autonomy to make decisions and ensuring alignment with organizational goals. Frameworks provide guidance on achieving this balance. Offer guidance and best practices. Agile scaling frameworks come with best practices, guidelines, and templates that help organizations avoid common pitfalls and challenges when scaling agile. Increase organizational agility. Ultimately, the purpose of an agile scaling framework is to increase the overall agility of the organization. This means being able to respond quickly and effectively to changing market conditions, customer needs, and competitive pressures. Popular agile scaling frameworks include the Scaled Agile Framework, SAFe, Large Scale Scrum, LaCie, Disciplined Agile Delivery, ADAD, and others. These frameworks provide structures, roles, ceremonies, and practices that help organizations scale agile principles to deliver value efficiently in larger and more complex contexts. User. Scaled Agile Framework, SAFe, Large Scale Scrum, less, DA, Disciplined Agile Delivery, DAD. What are these? ChatGPT, Scaled Agile Framework, SAFe, Large Scale Scrum, less, and Disciplined. Agile Delivery, DAD, are popular Agile scaling frameworks that organizations use to extend Agile practices to manage larger and more complex projects or product development efforts. Each of these frameworks has its own principles, practices, and structures designed to facilitate the scaling of Agile across multiple teams and levels of an organization. Here's a brief overview of each framework. Scaled Agile Framework, SAFe. SAFe is one of the most widely adopted Agile scaling frameworks. It provides a comprehensive approach to scaling Agile principles and practices throughout an entire organization. Key features. Organized into 4 levels: team, program, large solution, and portfolio, with each level having its own roles, ceremonies, and artifacts. Prescribed roles such as release train engineer, ERTA, product owner, scrum master, and system architect. Utilizes Agile release trains, ARTs, to coordinate the work of multiple Agile teams. Offers various configurations tailored for different organizational contexts, including Essential SAFe, Large Solution SAFe, Portfolio SAFe, and more. Promotes lean Agile principles, DevOps practices, and continuous delivery. Large-scale Scrum, less. Less is a lightweight framework that extends the Scrum framework to large organizations. It emphasizes simplicity and minimizing additional roles and artifacts. Key features. Retains the core Scrum roles of Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. Encourages a single product backlog for multiple Scrum teams working on the same product. Promotes empiricism and transparency by focusing on the principles of Scrum. Avoids adding unnecessary complexity and layers of management. Emphasizes that scaling is more about the scaling and simplifying processes and roles. Disciplined Agile Delivery, DAD. DAD is an Agile framework that provides a flexible approach to scaling Agile practices. It incorporates a wide range of Agile and lean techniques, allowing organizations to tailor their Agile adoption to their unique needs. Key features. Offers a process decision framework that enables organizations to make informed choices about which Agile and lean practices to adopt. Provides a variety of life cycles, including Agile, lean, and continuous delivery options. Supports various roles such as team lead, product owner, and architecture owner. Addresses various aspects of software development, including architecture, design, testing, programming, and more. Recognizes that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and allows organizations to adapt practices to their context. These frameworks are intended to help organizations overcome the challenges of scaling Agile principles and practices to larger projects, complex products, and extensive organizational structures. The choice of which framework to use depends on an organization's specific needs, culture, and the context in which they operate. Each framework offers a structured approach to scaling Agile, while providing flexibility to tailor practices to suit the organization's goals and constraints. User. Describe the process of monitoring and controlling in PMP in one paragraph. ChatGPT. The process of monitoring and controlling in project management involves tracking, reviewing, and deregulating the various aspects of a project to ensure that it aligns with the project management plan and achieves its objectives. This process includes collecting and analyzing performance data, comparing it to the project plan, and taking corrective actions when necessary. It encompasses activities like quality control, risk monitoring, change control, and scope verification. The goal is to identify variances, assess their impact, and make necessary adjustments to keep the project on track, within scope, on schedule, and within budget. Effective monitoring and controlling are essential for managing project risks, maintaining quality, and ensuring that the project delivers the intended value to stakeholders. User. What process are part of the monitoring and controlling GN PMP in one paragraph? ChatGPT. Monitoring and controlling is a critical process group in project management that includes several key processes. Monitor and control project work. This process involves tracking and measuring project performance against the project management plan, identifying variances, and taking corrective actions to keep the project on track. Perform integrated change control. It focuses on reviewing and approving or rejecting proposed changes to the project scope, schedule, or budget, and ensuring that changes are managed effectively. Validate scope. This process verifies that project deliverables meet the specified acceptance criteria and obtains formal acceptance from stakeholders. Control scope. It ensures that project scope is maintained, preventing unauthorized changes, and addressing scope creep. Control schedule. This process manages changes to project schedule, ensures that it remains on track, and takes corrective actions when necessary. Control costs. It monitors and controls project costs, tracks expenses, and manages the budget. Perform quality control. This process checks that project deliverables meet quality standards and identifies and addresses any quality issues. Control quality. It involves monitoring and controlling the overall project quality and ensuring that quality management activities are effective. Monitor and control risks. This process identifies, analyzes, and responds to project risks to minimize their impact and ensure risk management effectiveness. Control procurements. It oversees procurement activities, contract compliance, and vendor performance. Monitor stakeholder engagement. This process tracks and manages stakeholder engagement levels to ensure that their needs and expectations are being met. Monitor communications. It verifies that project communications are occurring as planned and takes corrective actions when needed. Collectively, these processes enable project managers to oversee project performance, address deviations from the plan, maintain control over project constraints, and ensure that the project stays aligned with its objectives and stakeholder expectations. User. What is the purpose of the monitoring communication process? ChatGPT. The purpose of the monitoring communications process in project management is to ensure that communication within the project is effective, efficient, and aligned with the project's communication plan. This process is essential for maintaining transparency, providing timely information to stakeholders, and addressing any communication challenges or issues that may arise during the project's lifecycle. Here are the key objectives and purposes of the monitor communications process. Ensure information flow. Monitor and confirm that information is being exchanged as planned among project stakeholders. This includes verifying that messages are being sent, received, and understood by the intended recipients. Evaluate communication performance. Assess the effectiveness of the communication methods and channels being used in the project. Determine whether they are achieving their intended goals and whether any adjustments are needed. Identify communication issues. Identify and address any communication challenges or breakdowns promptly. This may include miscommunication, misunderstandings, or conflicts related to project information. Verify stakeholder engagement. Ensure that stakeholders are engaged and informed appropriately based on their needs and expectations. Confirm that stakeholders are receiving the information they require to support the project's success. Compliance with communication plan. Confirm that the project is following the communication plan established during the project initiation and planning phases. Ensure that the plan remains relevant and effective. Feedback collection. Collect feedback from stakeholders regarding their satisfaction with project communication. Use this feedback to make improvements and adjustments to the communication plan. Issue resolution. If communication-related issues or conflicts arise, take corrective actions to address them promptly. This may involve clarifying information, resolving disputes, or modifying the communication approach. Documentation. Maintain records of project communication activities, including messages sent, responses received, and any changes made to the communication plan. Communication audits. Conduct periodic communication audits to evaluate the overall effectiveness of the communication process and identify areas for improvement. Adapt to changing needs. Be responsive to changing project circumstances, stakeholder requirements, or external factors that may impact communication needs. Adjust the communication plan as necessary. Ensure compliance. Ensure that the project's communication practices comply with any regulatory or organizational requirements, particularly in industries with strict reporting and communication standards. The monitor communications process plays a crucial role in project management by helping project managers and teams maintain transparency, manage stakeholder expectations, address issues proactively, and ensure that the flow of information supports the successful execution of the project. It is an essential component of effective project governance and stakeholder engagement. User. Define the purpose of a configuration management system in one paragraph. Describe the CCB or change control board in one paragraph. Be able to describe the purpose of a monitor engagement stakeholder in one paragraph. The purpose of the control resource process in one paragraph. What is the purpose of the control quality process monitor risk in one paragraph? Describe the purpose of monitoring project integrations. One paragraph. ChatGPT. Configuration management system (CMS). The purpose of a configuration management system (CMS) is to provide a structured and centralized approach to managing and controlling the configuration items, sys, and components of a project or system throughout its lifecycle. It serves as a comprehensive repository for storing, tracking, and documenting all configuration-related information, including version control, changes, relationships, and dependencies. The CMS ensures that the project's components remain consistent, well-documented, and aligned with project requirements, which is crucial for quality assurance, change control, and maintaining the integrity of the project's deliverables. Change Control Board (CCB). A Change Control Board (CCB) is a governing body or committee responsible for reviewing, evaluating, and approving or rejecting proposed changes to a project. The purpose of the CCB is to ensure that changes to project scope, schedule, budget, or other project elements are thoroughly assessed for their impact on the project's objectives and constraints. The CCB helps maintain project stability, prevents unauthorized changes, and ensures that all changes align with project goals and stakeholder expectations. Monitor stakeholder engagement. The purpose of monitoring stakeholder engagement is to assess and manage the level of stakeholder involvement, communication, and satisfaction throughout the project. This process involves tracking stakeholder interactions, gathering feedback, and adjusting engagement strategies as needed to maintain positive stakeholder relationships, address concerns, and ensure that stakeholders' needs and expectations are met. Control resources. The purpose of the control resources process is to effectively manage and optimize the utilization of project resources, including human resources, equipment, materials, and facilities. It involves monitoring resource performance, allocating resources as required, resolving resource-related issues, and ensuring that resources are utilized efficiently to support project activities and meet project objectives. Control quality. The purpose of the control quality process is to monitor and verify that project deliverables meet the defined quality standards and requirements. It involves inspecting and testing project work to identify defects, deviations, or nonconformities, and taking corrective actions to address quality issues. The process ensures that the project produces high-quality deliverables that meet stakeholder expectations and adhere to the established quality criteria. Monitor risk. The purpose of monitoring project risks is to continuously assess and track identified project risks, as well as identify new risks that may arise. This process involves monitoring risk triggers, risk indicators, and risk response plans to determine if they are still valid and effective. The goal is to proactively address potential risks, minimize their impact, and take necessary actions to keep the project on track. Monitoring project integrations. The purpose of monitoring project integrations is to oversee and evaluate the integration of various project components, processes, and activities to ensure that they are working together harmoniously to achieve project objectives. This involves assessing the interactions and interfaces between different parts of the project, identifying integration challenges or bottlenecks, and taking corrective actions to ensure cohesive and integrated project execution. Monitoring project integrations helps maintain alignment with the project's overall goals and ensures that integration-related risks are managed effectively. User. Describe the steps to close out our job process. In one paragraph, name publication that describes the ethical standards that PMP are required to adhere. In one paragraph, describe the areas in which PMP credential holders must apply professional knowledge. PMP. In one paragraph, what are the key activities that ensure customer satisfaction? In one paragraph. ChatGPT. Steps to close out a job process. Closing out a job or project is a critical phase that ensures that all project objectives have been met and that all necessary tasks and documentation are completed. The following are key steps in closing out a job process. Verify completion. Confirm that all project work has been executed as per the project plan and that all deliverables are finished. Conduct final inspections. Perform final inspections and quality checks to ensure that the project meets the specified requirements and standards. Compile documentation. Assemble all project documentation, including project plans, reports, contracts, and other records, and ensure they are complete, accurate, and organized. Formalize acceptance. Obtain formal acceptance of project deliverables from the client or relevant stakeholders. Handover and training. If necessary, provide training to the end users or client on how to operate and maintain the project's results. Settle financial matters. Address all financial aspects, including final payments, invoices, and closing contracts. Release resources. Release project team members and resources, ensuring that any contractual obligations are fulfilled. Archiving. Archive project documentation and records for future reference or audits. Evaluate the project. Conduct a post-project evaluation to identify lessons learned and areas for improvement. Communicate closure. Notify all stakeholders of the project's successful closure and ensure that any remaining open issues or tasks are addressed. Celebrate success. Acknowledge the project team's efforts and celebrate the project's successful completion. Ethical standards for PMPs. PMP credential holders are expected to adhere to ethical standards outlined in the Project Management Institute's PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. This publication provides guidelines for ethical behavior in areas such as responsibility, respect, fairness, and honesty. It outlines principles and standards that PMPs should follow to ensure integrity, transparency, and professionalism in their project management practices. Professional knowledge application for PMPs. PMP credential holders are required to apply their professional knowledge in various areas of project management. This includes scope management, defining and managing project scope to ensure that the project delivers what was planned and approved. Time management, developing and controlling project schedules to meet project deadlines. Cost management, estimating, budgeting, and managing project costs to stay within budget. Quality management, ensuring that project deliverables meet specified quality standards. Risk management, identifying, assessing, and mitigating project risks to minimize their impact. Stakeholder engagement, effectively communicating and engaging with project stakeholders to meet their needs and expectations. Procurement and contract management, managing procurement activities and contracts to acquire goods and services for the project. Key activities for customer satisfaction. To ensure customer satisfaction in project management, key activities include effective communication, maintain open and transparent communication with stakeholders to keep them informed about project progress, changes, and issues. Requirements management, carefully gather, document, and manage project requirements to ensure that the project delivers what the customer expects. Quality assurance, implement quality management processes to meet or exceed quality standards and customer expectations. Stakeholder engagement, continuously engage with customers and stakeholders to understand their evolving needs and address concerns promptly. Risk management, proactively manage project risks to prevent disruptions and surprises that could negatively impact customer satisfaction. Change management, handle changes effectively, ensuring that they align with customer requirements and expectations. Timely delivery, deliver project outcomes on schedule and within budget, meeting customer deadlines and commitments. Feedback collection, solicit feedback from customers and stakeholders and use it to make improvements and enhance their experience. Customer training, provide training and support to customers to help them effectively use and benefit from the project's results. Final acceptance, obtain formal acceptance from the customer, confirming that the project meets their satisfaction and requirements. Absolutely, here are concise paragraphs on each of the topics you've mentioned. Controlling work results and closing out the project. Controlling work results involves monitoring and comparing the ongoing project performance against the project plan, making necessary adjustments to ensure objectives are met. Closing out the project means finalizing all project-related activities, ensuring all work is complete, and formally recognizing the project's conclusion. Earned value management techniques. Earned value management (EVM) is a quantitative project management technique that combines scope, time, and cost data to assess project performance and forecast future performance. By comparing planned work, planned value, with completed work, earned value, and actual costs, actual cost, EVM helps project managers identify variances and take corrective actions. Purpose of the validate scope process. The validate scope process involves the formal acceptance of completed project deliverables by stakeholders. It ensures that deliverables meet the documented requirements and have been completed satisfactorily, serving as a checkpoint before moving to the next phase or concluding the project. Project verification. Project verification refers to the evaluation activities carried out during the project lifecycle to confirm that deliverables meet specific criteria set forth in the project plan. This internal process ensures that outputs are consistent with project quality requirements before they undergo validation by the customer or end users. Primary activity of the closed project process. The primary activity of the closed project process is to ensure that all aspects of the project are completed effectively and that the project has met its objectives. This involves finalizing all deliverables, reconciling budgets, releasing project resources, and obtaining formal project closure. When the closed project process is performed, the closed project process is performed when all project objectives are met and deliverables are accepted, or when it's determined the project cannot meet its objectives and needs to be terminated. It signifies the formal conclusion of project activities. Purpose of the lessons learned. The purpose of lessons learned is to document experiences, challenges, successes, and insights gained throughout the project. This information provides valuable feedback for future projects, ensuring continuous improvement in project management practices. Measures used on agile progress projects. In agile methodologies, progress is often tracked using measures like velocity, average amount of work completed in iterations, burn-down charts showing work left to complete, cumulative flow diagrams visualizing work status, and cycle time taken to complete a task. These metrics provide insights into team performance and project pace. I hope these paragraphs provide a concise understanding of each topic.